And we all know what that means on the Going for Two Live Network. It is the Fantasy Cheat Sheet presented by GF2 Live. Make sure you go for Going for Two Live to the YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. But more importantly, let's just get down into it. We just got done with another Monday night game this week. Jordan, what are you up to, my man?
I'm good, man. Ready to talk some football, some disappointments, some triumphs. Another week with you guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then last but not least, Jamie, what is up?
What's going on, guys? I'm excited for tonight. I see Gator J's already in the chat. Get ready, Gator J. We're going to have some trivia night later on, so get your pen and paper ready. See what you got.
All right, so we got Gator J, just like Jamie said. We got a lot to talk about, starting sits, waiver wire. But first off, let's get into the news. There's not much besides we already knew Darnell Mooney was probably going to go to the IR. That was confirmed. Other than that, this kind of surprising news, and I will go last on this one for obvious reasons. Yeah. Melvin Gordon III has now is going to be playing for his third AFC West team, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs. Signed him to the practice squad. I assume he will only be on the practice squad for conditioning, and he'll be back on the team sooner than later. But let's just get straight into it. I'm going to go the opposite way. Jamie, what do you got?
Oh, dude, I love this move for both the Chiefs and Melvin Gordon. Like, it gives the Chiefs another option at the running back position with CH out. Like we talked about last week with Melvin Gordon. I know I went a little bit in depth into it with his 5 fumbles and only 2 touchdowns so far on this year. So here's the thing. So I looked into the future. And now, in order to see the future, you have to look into the past. So I looked into the past. And besides his rookie year and so far this year, Gordon only fumbled between 1 to 4 times each of his years. And he had 8 to 10 touchdowns. So what does that tell us? Well, Mike, with you being a Chiefs fan, I'm hoping it means that there's no more fumbles this year, and Melvin Gordon has touchdowns from here on out. And one more note that the Chiefs haven't played the Broncos yet, and they play them twice. So
2 revenge games.
Yep, I like that, man.
There goes my pot talking point. No.
Well, I just brought it up. I queued it up for you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jordan.
So I think that was last week or whenever he got cut, we kind of talked about some teams that I mentioned. I said, Kansas City always picks up a guy and maybe puts him on a practice squad. So it wasn't surprising to see him picked up from a fantasy perspective. Seeing Ronald Jones out there for the first time all season, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
So I don't know what that means for him. Pacheco has looked good as well, so I don't really see Melvin Gordon coming in and taking away his production. So it's an interesting spot for him. Obviously, he gets a chance at revenge against the Broncos when he plays. I definitely think he'll be on the roster soon. So it's a depth piece for them, I think. Just having another body. Obviously, they'll still use McKinnon for the passing downs, I think. So a good depth piece. I mean, you got it for nothing. So good move by the Chiefs.
Okay, here we go. Both of you said exactly 2 points that I really wanted to make. First off, I think it is not a mistake at all that the Broncos have to play the Chiefs 2 more times, new system, everything like that. If this had been the same system for 6 years and Andy Reid figured, knows it all because he's played them twice a year, one thing. But you don't think he wants some information on that inside of that freaking locker room? You're damn right he does. I mean, I'm not saying that's the only reason they brought him over, but there's no way Andy Reid is dumb enough not to think of that when he made the signing. The other thing I am happy about or don't want to happen, but you brought it up, Jordan. I don't think he's going to take away from Pacheco's carries number-wise. I'm just afraid that they are actually going to do what I said they needed to do with CEH the right way and him not getting the ball into the end zone in the freaking 5-yard line. I think that is really what is going to – that's why he's in there. He made it to the team for that reason. But I will say this. I am Mad about one thing. Can you guess what that thing is?
Mm, no, I can't.
The wide receiver they picked up?
No, one of you guys already brought it up. No, it's about
Ronald
this topic.
The
Ronald
fumbles?
How the hell have you not gotten Rojo the chance? You don't even give Rojo the chance, and then you sign an older version of Rojo in. You didn't even give Rojo a chance. That's the biggest mistake I think they're making. But hey, I'm just sitting on my ass at home. I'm not getting paid the big bucks to be a GM. I mean, let's.
Yeah.
Gator says KC home game. They just need to play future. Oh God!
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Play future. Coming out of the tunnel. Oh, I'm telling you right now, Travis Kelce is going to request that to be played. That's just a Travis Kelce move. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's pretty much the news. Last night we had an actual decent second half of football. The first half was a little slow. I think Matt Ryan had 19 yards passing the first half. It was pretty bad, but the Steelers ended up winning 24-17 over the Colts. Najee Harris got a little bit dinged up. We'll get more into Najee in a sec. He got a little dinged up. The normal suspects did good for Pittsburgh, not Deontay Dropson, but the new rookie. You got the rookie Pickens, and then you also got Freiermuth, who came in and did good. Colts had Pittman show up, and surprisingly, Jelani Woods showed up. It looked like every other pass in the second half was to the tight ends. But it's time for our big takeaways of the night. Jordan, I know you're on that Pittsburgh side of the ball. What you got?
Yeah. So up until about 2 weeks ago, I felt like Najee Harris was a candidate for one of the biggest busts in fantasy.
Same here.
This injury, I guess, kind of excuses that, I guess, a little bit because he had started playing well, but now I think an abdomen injury. We don't know exactly how serious it is yet. If it is a hernia, like some people suggest, he could be done for the year. So then that kind of just opens things up. I mean, obviously Jalen Warren was the favorite, but favorite to be the handcuff and everything like that. But he missed last night's game. He was hurt. Benny Snell, from a number standpoint, looked pretty good. They had McFarland. He also produced as well. So I think that those guys producing the way that they did last night just kind of murkies up everything else. So now I think when I thought Warren was the surefire backup, I'm not so sure about that anymore. I think it'll be more of a committee approach with those three guys. So it'll be a mess. The offense already isn't good. It was hard for Najee Harris to be successful. So I don't really want any of these guys until I know for sure what Harris's status is. And Warren, I would still favor Warren to choose out of all those guys, but it's not a slam dunk like I thought it was a couple weeks ago.
I completely agree. Jamie, what do you think before I give my take on this?
See, I was thinking about the Pickens, the Pickett the Pickens connection. That's hard to say. Say that 5 times fast. Pickett the Pickens, Pickens the Pickens, Pickens Pickens. But like as a Browns fan, like I hate to say it, but the Steelers' future is looking upwards. Like that defense looking great, but besides the defense, we've seen a glimpse of what the Steelers' future is last night with the Pickens, if Pickett pans out.
Yeah.
Even if Pickett doesn't pans out, we already know that I can't even say Pickens is a stud. We all know Pickens is a stud.
God damn!
I know. All right,
so just say George or Kenny, okay?
Oh, okay. So, like, let me start over. So, they only had 3 connections last night for like what 57 yards, 57 yards, but they were at key critical moments. And that 35-yard catch in the first half is another highlight reel added to his catch rate. Like you can't get better than that. he proves time after time he's just gonna keep making great catches. Like you think it's already done? Like no, he's gonna just get even better. But the one thing that I saw is the next gen stat that George his 35-yard reception in the second quarter had a completion probability of just 23.9%. That's the third least likely completion for the Steelers this season. And George owns 2 of the top 3 least likely receptions in 2022.
Yeah, when Pickett is throwing him the ball, that's understandable. And,
like it doesn't matter who throws him the ball, though, right?
Right.
Or is it,
right.
The passing could be worse. So
it could be worse.
So it could be further away from the target.
True.
Or
True.
it could be closer, and then you don't have to get as many out of reach balls. But before I get mine,
wait, one last thing. He also had another key catch in the fourth quarter, and it was a third and 9. He made like a 13-yard catch, and that's what led the victory because they scored after they made that first down at 3rd and 9.
Yeah. So first, I want to say about the Najee thing. I think that because Tomlin likes familiarity, I do think Warren should be the right guy, the next guy up. But because Tomlin likes familiarity and Benny Snell actually looked a little more like Benny Snell than he has in the past, I think Benny Snell is actually going to get the number 1 opportunities purely because of that. And then they'll mix Warren in more than McFarland, but McFarland might get the obvious passing work. For the Pickett, George, Kenny, whatever you want to call it, scenario, I do think it's going to work out for the future. I do think that wide receiving core is going to look a lot different in 2 years. And I don't even know if Deontay's there in 2 years. So you might have Pickett as the 1, and who knows who else 2 and 3. If Pickett can survive and become, the quarterback that people want him to be in Pittsburgh, wheels up for that offense. But let's talk about the other offense from last night, or the lack thereof, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. I know they scored 17 points, but here is what I want to talk about. They do have Jonathan Taylor. They've got decent wide receivers. You are not going to win in the new era of the NFL without a quarterback. And if you have 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks in freaking 4 years, that's not a prescription for success. That's not a recipe for success. They have had since Andrew Luck retired. You got Jacoby Brissett, Brian Hoyer, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, and Sam Ehlinger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 since 2019. The point I'm trying to make is it's pretty simple. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to succeed in this league. The problem is Matty Ice is Matty isn't. And he is playing icy and not in the good way. So twofold, I think Indianapolis is going to be, and I don't think they're going to get another top notch. The only person, I said it the other day on Rumboys, I have a slight suspicion that this guy's quarterback is going to be in blue and white.
Or what about this guy's quarterback, Jacoby Brissett? He deserves a chance too.
No, but I think Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers returns next year, I think it's going to be an Indy. I don't know why. It's just a hunch, but I could be completely wrong. But my main point is if they don't get that franchise or even that medium length kind of quarterback, they're not going to be successful because that's what's holding them back from going over that extra hump, because them in Tennessee are going to be fighting it out until Houston gets their head out of their ass and Jacksonville has matures a little bit more, because I do think they'll be competitive. But we got 2-3 weeks in the regular fantasy season. We got close matchups. I know we all do with the amount of leagues we're in. So Jordan, why don't you start it off?
My regret of the week, man. In the league, I lost by less than 5 points. I think it was like 4.7 something, whatever. I thought I made a good decision. I mean, I had Josh Palmer in. Mike Williams was out. They were playing against Arizona. Arizona typically does a great job of taking away team's number one receiver, but the number twos normally have good games. Josh Palmer scored 10 points. Not a bad game. But again, I lost by 4 point something. Had Rashad White on my bench. It was kind of choosing between those two guys in a flex spot. Obviously, I made the wrong decision. Ended up losing. White scored 19 compared to Palmer's 10. I would have won. So that was kind of disappointing. But other than that, I had some good decisions as well, good wins, but that one kind of just stung the most.
I honestly, I probably would have made the same decision. I loved White going against the Browns, obviously, but I started him in a bunch of leagues. I like Palmer going into this week.
Yeah,
he had a great matchup, and Mike Williams wasn't playing, so
Right.
I started Palmer over a bunch of people, and yeah, I don't blame you, but I had one, so I lost by a measly 3 points with ETN as my starting running back, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was my flex, so I had to choose between Dulish, Njoku, and my other guy was DJ Chark, but it was mainly between Dulish and Njoku. I thought I would have been a homer if I started Njoku, but so I dug deep, and Dulish was coming off of a 10-point game. Njoku was coming off of a 5-point game. They both average about 10 points, 9.1 points for Dulish and 10.3, I think, for Njoku. So I was like, it doesn't really matter which one I start. I looked at the matchup. Like Dulish had a good matchup, but I ended up losing by 3 points. So that killed me, and it kept me out of the playoff run. So now I'm sitting there in 7th. If I would have played anyone else, like even Gainwell, I had Gainwell on my bench who scored like 12. Mm-hmm. Like I would have won, but this is a dynasty team that I really never had high hopes for in the first place. Because going into the year, I took over this orphan team. This team had 4 empty roster spots, only 1 player out of the 4 on the taxi squad, and Dwayne Haskins and Tim Tebow were on my roster. So pretty much 6 empty roster spots, only 1 person on. Like I made 13 trades going into this season in that one league. So now I have a pretty solid, like since I had a solid rookie draft and I made those solid trades, like I am in contention. So like right now I'm just looking upwards and looking forward maybe next year. Because I'll need to win out and have other people to lose out in order for me to make the playoffs. So it's over for me in that one league pretty much.
Because of Greg Dulcich.
Dulcich over Njoku, and Njoku was my top tight end going into this year. Like I had him as a projected top 5.
Yes,
not far
I
off.
did. No, I'm not. I think right now he's at 8, missing those games, and plus he started off slow. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to start Njoku over anybody.
Anybody,
unless it's Hawkinson, Andrews, Kelsey.
If I have to choose between a player whose quarterback catchphrase is "Let's ride," I'm going with the other player moving forward for the rest of this season.
All right, so for mine, with all the leagues that I'm in, it's kind of a weird week for me. I either won or I got took to the woodshed. The ones that I did lose, I just got taken outside and whipped because I tried to steal something from the liquor store next door. Like, I mean, it was that bad. So, but the one is the one I screenshotted and sent it to both of these boys.
That's tough.
I won it.
Well, that's tough for the other person. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. So I won 183.34 to 183.21. The thing that makes it even worse is this is my league, my home league that we turned it into a dynasty, but then this is redraft. We turned it into dynasty, but we kept our redraft. But every 2 years we're changing the rules to make people wanted to try new things out. Someone wanted to try out 2-week playoffs. So the playoffs first week was this week. So that is what it is in going into week 2. That is a freaking dead heat. No freaking advantage going into week 2. And the only reason I got that is because when you look at I got Derek Carr, who actually got me 22 points this week in this league, and Kyler got me 26, and his quarterbacks did not. There was Dak and Gino who got him 19. No, what was Gino? Gino was.
I noticed he has Jacoby Myers. He might not
19.
be playing this week.
19 and 15. So, yeah, Jacoby won't be out. If Jacoby doesn't play, his wide receivers on the bench are Robert Woods, Devontae Parker, and he had Hollywood Brown on the bench. He probably won't keep him on the bench this week. So,
Yeah.
To say the least, I am going to be tight, but I also have Isaiah McKenzie on that team who was on my bench and got me 19, but at the same time.
Well, who would you play him over? Gallup?
This week it's going to be Michael Carter.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Out, so I'll probably put him in. But, yeah, that was my close call. I didn't really have a regret. Like, even through the teams that, I was close. And, I didn't have anyone that I wanted of, I have to start McKenzie over, that guy. So we got that. Starting to regret our Monday nights. Hey Jordan, what do you want to talk about?
So my brother is a diehard Raiders fan, and
I'm sorry.
So every week, I go to his house. We watch the games, but we pay special attention to the Raiders games. And and going into this season, we talked about Josh Jacobs and how the team hadn't picked up his 5th-year option. And, my brother was kind of frustrated with him. We talked about, it felt like he was always hobbling off the field. He was always banged up. He wasn't really producing. Last year was a down year for him. And so he was like, man, they need to get another running back to kind of supplement him, make sure it's like a 2-headed monster run. Yeah. Obviously, the Raiders said they drafted Zamir White. We heard about Zamir White all season. We thought, he could have a chance to supplant. He was the future. He could have a chance to supplant Josh Jacobs if he got hurt. Obviously, that didn't happen. Josh Jacobs is is looking for a contract, and he is playing lights out. He is the definition of playing for a contract and how successful that can be for a team and a player. He is RB2 right now in fantasy. Just behind Austin Eckler. He's averaging about 22 fantasy points per game according to Fantasy Pros PPR scoring. So that is significantly better than any year he's ever had. He's averaging 5 yards a carry. When I looked at his previous years, his rookie season, he was RB21. He finished with 14.7 points per game. He played in 13 games. The other 2 years in 2020, he was RB8, but he only averaged 15.4. And last year he was RB12 at 15.1. So that's like a 7-point per game difference this season compared to last or even his best season. So he's been on a tear. Obviously, coming off of the game last week with over 300 total yards, had about 48 fantasy points, 50 in some other leagues. Single-handedly carried people to wins. I saw him hobble off the field Sunday, And then he came right back in a couple of drives later and broke a long run. Not the touchdown run, but just another solid run. So I'm like, this is a different guy. Like, he completely changed my perspective of him. I'm sure he changed the Raiders' perspective of him as well. I don't have any shares of him. I wish I would have the way he's looking. And they're also been running him a lot more. This year he had I wrote it down. Right now he only has one less carry through 11 games than he had the entire season last year in 15. So obviously much more work for him. He's gonna smash that if he stays healthy. But with 5.4 yards a carry, RB2, he didn't have a choice but to bet on himself, but it's paying off for him.
Yeah. So what do you think about Josh Jacobs, Jamie?
Man, I saw a meme today. I think Fantasy Pros posted it. It was Elmer Fudd pointing a gun in a hole, and it came out the other end saying me fading Josh Jacobs this year. Just shot herself in the head. Love him, man. Like, he's 2 years younger than Nick Chubb, and we're all over Nick Chubb, right? And he's 2 years younger than him. So the path that he's going to be going on and his next, like, usually we fade running backs that go on to a different team, but with him being that young, not even 25 yet, on his next team, like, he's going to be a stud. So I love it.
So you think I assume at this point the Raiders are going to give him a deal unless someone throws the Brinks truck at him.
So I think they will. I do think he will sign there. I think it'll be a 1 year. See what happens. I want to go. You guys have both said what you said was awesome. I want to go back to something you did say, and that is a different player's name. I blame Zamir White not being involved in this offense on one person and one person only, and that is the little freaking disciple of Bill Belichick, because Belichick always hides those running backs that you think are going to be good. That muddled freaking, even if Josh Jacobs isn't the muddled part of that offense, you didn't think it'd be Abdullah. You didn't think it would be, whoever else is Brandon Bolden. We did think, like Jordan said, we thought it was going to be Zamir White. But, in 5 years, all we know is Zamir White could be an answer to a trivia question at some bar. So we have our own version of trivia. I'm just going to hand the mic over. Go ahead, my sir.
All right, we're going to start off going into this.
How are we doing this?
All right, so it's a ABCD. So this running back has the most evaded tackles at the running back position. Is it Stevenson, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, or Aaron Jones? The most evaded tackles at the running back. Stevenson, Jacobs, Chubb, or Jones?
I will say it's either Josh Jacobs or Nick Chubb, but I'm gonna say Nick Chubb.
I'm actually gonna say Aaron Jones.
You are both wrong. Last week you would have been right, Jordan, but it is Josh. Oh, no, wait. It is Nick Chubb. My bad. Last week it was Josh Jacobs. It is now Nick Chubb.
Kyle got it right.
Yep.
And Gator says it's not Jones.
It is Nick Chubb. All right. So question 2. This quarterback has the most accurate rating on deep ball attempts. The most accurate rating on deep ball attempts. Is it Josh Allen, Tua, Mike White, or Skylar Thompson?
It ain't Skylar Thompson. I'm gonna go with Tua.
Ooh.
If you're going percentage only, I'm going Mike White.
Rating. Yep. Mike, you are right. Skylar Thompson is actually number 3.
Mm.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Golf.
All right.
Cough.
Which of these wide receivers has the most targets per game? Is it Hopkins, Adams, Cooper Kupp, or Tyreek Hill?
Trick question.
It's targets
No.
per game.
That's why it's a trick question because it's DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
You're gonna go Hopkins too?
I don't.
He's keeping track. I hope you know that, Jordan.
I know he is. I see him right.
Gator says no. Josh Walker says Adams.
I'm gonna say.
Kyle says Cup.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. You know what? I looked at this like a couple days ago, man. I'm gonna say Devontae Adams too.
Who is it?
It is Devontae Adams. If I would have asked this last week, it would have been Hopkins.
Oh, okay.
All right, so this tight end has played the most slot snaps so far this year. Is it Kelsey, Andrews, Engram, or Ertz? The most slot snaps so far this year for any tight end, Kelsey, Andrews, Engram, or Ertz?
I'm gonna say Mark Andrews.
I'm gonna say Kelsey.
You are both wrong. It is still Zach Ertz.
Oh wow!
Even with missing his games, he had 232 snaps. Yeah, and Andrews was number 2 with 219.
And Gator said Stonehands Evan Ingram.
No, that was not correct. That was number 3. So this quarterback has the most red zone carries and rushing touchdowns.
Jalen Hurts.
Is it Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, or Josh Allen?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I just wanted to compare. Like Jalen Hurts has 36 red zone carries and 8 touchdowns, but Justin Fields only has 23 red zone carries and 7 touchdowns.
Wow, he's more efficient.
That's why I wanted to bring that one up. So next question. Which running back sees the most target share? The most target share out of all running backs, is it CMC, Eckler, Kamara, or Stevenson?
Oh, this might be a tricky question.
I think it's either Stevenson or Eckler.
I'm going Stevenson.
Yeah, I think. Wait. Eckler done had like double-digit targets a lot. I'm gonna go with Eckler.
Mike, you say Eckler too?
No, Stevenson.
You say Stevenson. Actually, Josh Walker got it right with Eckler. If I would have asked this question last week, it would have been CMC.
All right, I got Eckler.
Yep, it's just on the new team, he hasn't been seeing as many targets. Going off that, which running back has the most targets while playing in the slot? Is it Kamara, McKissick, Eckler, or CMC? Playing out of the slot, who has the most targets at the running back position?
J.D. McKissick is on here for some reason. I'm gonna say CMC.
Who was the first one?
Kamara, McKissick, CMC, or Eckler. And no looking up shit, Mike.
No, I'm not. No. I couldn't remember who you said.
Kamara, McKissick, CMC, or Eckler, the most targets while playing in the slot.
I'm going Kamara.
You go Kamara. What did you say?
CMC.
CMC is correct. He has 12 with Kamara and McKissick both at 7 and Eckler only at 4. Which quarterback has the most red zone pass attempts? So which quarterback has the most red zone pass attempts? Is it Herbert, Kirk Cousins, Mahomes, or Josh Allen? So in the 20 in the red zone, which has the most pass attempts? Herbert,
Mahomes.
Kirk Cousins, Mahomes, or Josh Allen?
I'm going to say Kirk Cousins.
Mahomes.
And Mahomes is correct. He has 91 with Kirk Cousins in number 2 at 76. That's a big difference. All right, last question. Mark Andrews leads all tight ends in air yards this year. Who is the second leading tight end in air yards? Is it Kelsey, Freiermuth, Kyle Pitts, or Hawkinson?
Kyle Pitts.
Mike?
Can you repeat the answers?
Kelsey, Fryermuth, Kyle Pitts, or Hawkinson. So Mark Andrews leads all tight ends in air yards. Who is the second leading tight end?
I think it's Kyle Pitts.
You are both correct, and so is Josh Walker. Gator, I'm sorry. Hawkinson was fourth out of that list.
I knew it was either. I was thinking it was not Kelsey, and I knew it was not.
But isn't that crazy? Kyle Pitts leads. Oh, man. I have a bonus question.
Uh-oh.
Which of these wide receivers had the earliest breakout age in college?
Oh, God.
Is it Paris Campbell, Drake London, Ashton Doolin, or Brian Edwards?
Okay.
Ah.
Jordan, let me take this one.
Yes.
And this is, and I'm not even going, I don't even care about if I get this right or not. Knowing this boy, he named his son after the winner of this
Ashton
answer, and it's Ashton Doolin, baby. It's the only reason I'm picking him.
I thought, oh, geez, there's another reason I asked this question, Mike, but what do you think? Who has the earliest breakout age out of all college receivers? Paris Campbell, Drake London, Ashton Doolin, or Brian Edwards?
A couple of guys saying Brian Edwards, but I don't know. I guess I'm gonna just say Brian Edwards because they said
You are correct, because the only reason I asked this was because Brian Edwards was just signed to the Chiefs, Mike.
I didn't even know that.
Yes. And
I
I
didn't
wanted
know
to
that
throw.
we got Brian Edwards.
Yeah, so he broke out at 17.8 years old. Paris Campbell and Drake London both 18.1. Ashton Doolin was 18.3.
Nah, man, that was fun, man.
That was fun.
All right.
Thank you guys for.
So now
It's
that
time.
Jamie
It's
got
time.
Jamie, yeah. So Jamie, what time is it?
It is Mike's rant time.
All right. So here we go. There were a couple offenses that everyone targeted in your fantasy drafts at the beginning of the season, and I am not ranting at a certain coach. I am not ranting at a certain GM for making a bad decision. I am ranting at the fantasy gods that keep screwing us over. It might be injuries. It might be bad performance. But there are two offenses that are really screwing us over, and I'll be honest. In one of my home leagues that I really need to win, they're screwing me over. Both of them. So I was looking at it, and it's just, I'm just going to name the players, and you guys will understand why this is garbage. Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams. Give me a break. Yes, it's partly injuries, and it's partly freaking people being upset that future gets played in the locker room. But the Broncos offense absolutely sucks. Cortland Sutton is still out in the middle of the freaking Red Rocks trying to freaking find his way back to Denver, Colorado, while Judy's sitting on the pine hurt. That's only the first offense I'm upset at. Can you guess what other offense I'm upset at?
Baltimore Ravens.
No, it's the freaking stinking Los Angeles Lambs. You got to be kidding me. You're freaking defending Super Bowl champs, and you freaking disrespect California by playing like this? I mean, Cooper Kupp's hurt. I get that. But this happened way before Cooper Kupp. Matthew Stafford has stabbed me in the back so many times this year that it's god-awful. I feel like I'm at a freaking Game of Thrones filming. Okay? Cam Akers, for whatever reason, he didn't get along with the team, fine. But they can't find a running back at all. And I don't think McVay knows how to use a running back, to be completely honest. And then freaking Tyler Higbee gives me a goose egg in the league that I needed to win. So we all thought, I mean, not all of us, but on the Broncos side, I was a big fan of a guy named Albert O. And Albert O turned into Albert No. And you got Greg Dolchich, who did decent. But I mean, for God's sakes, the Denver Broncos suck so bad that you have one running back injured for the season. Another running back gets injured after trading for him. And the same day, they decide to cut the only other veteran on the team at running back. What's that tell you? Denver, you suck. Let's ride. So, Jordan, it looks like we got three. We're talking all running backs when it comes to waiver wire. Sometimes you get waiver wire pickups because of performance. Sometimes you get waiver wire because of injuries. Sometimes it's a combined both. What do you got?
So this is a little mixture of both. Guy was provided an opportunity, and he did the most with that opportunity because of an injury. But I'm gonna go with Zonovan Wilson. I'm sorry, Zonovan Knight. I don't know what I was thinking of.
I knew where you were going. You're thinking, let's ride.
Yeah, I definitely was thinking about let's ride. Zonovan Knight, man. Michael Carter left the game with an ankle injury, and then Knight came in. Obviously, first we start with James Robinson being a healthy scratch. That was something that was kind of surprising to me. And then Carter left the game with an injury. Knight came in, played most of the first and second down snaps when Carter left the game. He had 14 carries for 69 yards, not terrible. Good performance. Obviously, if Carter's out, he'll be sharing it with Ty Johnson, who will probably get some of the passing down work, and they'll probably activate James Robinson, so he might be in the mix as well. But as far as being the lead guy to kind of take over the rushing downs work, it seems like Knight performed well enough to take that opportunity. So you can pick him up. We don't know exactly how serious Carter's injury is, but just do it just in case he misses time. On an offense that seems to have new life with Mike White. I know they were playing against Chicago, but he looked better than Zach Wilson against an inferior opponent. So we'll see how that goes. It's just something, a guy you can have a starting running back at this late in the season, a guy who can give you probably 10 PPR points possibly. He's worth the add this week till we know how serious Carter's injury is.
I completely agree with you. I was looking at him in a couple of leagues. I'm going to make some moves after the show. But, Jamie, what do you think?
I like that move just in case Carter doesn't play. It's going to be Zonovan White. Is that his name? Zonovan White.
Knight.
Zonovan Knight. I told my girl to pick him up in 2 of our leagues. I was like, you're in the playoffs. Just to be safe, pick him up. Even if you're blocking someone else from taking him, you need him. So, I'm going to see tonight if she gets him or not. But I do like that move.
Yeah.
So who you got, Jamie?
So going off your rant, Mike, the Denver's offense is struggling so hard right now to move the ball down that field. They could use all the help they can get, especially in the passing game, right?
Yes.
Now, right now, the Broncos have the lowest points scored this year since the 2000 Cleveland Browns. Can you believe that?
No, I can't, actually.
Which means there's going to be a tons of negative game scripts going forward. So, which is great for pass catching running backs. Who's coming back from injured reserve this week? Mike Boone. Mike Boone is coming back from I think it was an ankle injury, week 8. He is the pass catching running back in that backfield. Latavius Murray only had, I know 1 week he had 23 or 24 carries, but only 1 target. So they need someone in that backfield. Mike Boone, he has a small sample size right now this year, but he's averaging 6.8 yards per touch and 10.1 yards per reception. So those stats are both top 15 for all running backs. So it's 6.8 yards per touch and 10.1 yards per reception. That's top 15 in both those categories. Like, he's been productive when he gets the ball in his hands. The Broncos are in desperate need of a great pass catching running back, and Boone is that guy. And it's also worth noting that Denver has the 7th easiest remaining schedule for running backs at the position.
Oh, damn.
So I agree with Mike Boone. I spent a lot of money on him earlier this season, and he burned me. But I definitely agree now. Less competition for carries. They're definitely going to be in negative game scripts, like you talked about. They play the Chiefs twice. I expect them to have to throw in those games. So definitely, I'm back on the Mike Boone trade. I just think he's more explosive than Latavius Murray. He was more explosive than Melvin Gordon for whatever reason. He didn't get more work, but I definitely think this time around he'll get another opportunity, and at least until Chase Edmonds comes back, whatever, in the next 2-3 weeks or whatever, until he gets back off IR maybe. But definitely worth the ad.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I just want to piggyback on saying that I'm in this kind of not as bad because Jordan's told me how much he tried to get Boone, but he burned me. He did burn me in a few leagues too. Like, even in the league I drafted him thinking, okay, he'll have a little bit of production. We'll see what he does, and obviously he didn't do diddly squat for us. But there is a running back. There were 2 running backs going into the season that 2 people that are on this panel were very high and bullish on. One of those guys was Chase Edmonds. Yes, I'm talking about me and you, Jamie. One of those guys was Chase Edmonds, and he did not do great. The other player that we were both bullish on just got hurt, and that's Travis Etienne. I know they're saying that he could be back. I think he'll be out this week. I do. My waiver wire pickup is Jermichael Hasty. I do know they're gonna. I do know they have Darrell Henderson that they're probably gonna activate, but I think that Jermichael Hasty is going to get the passing downs that Etienne was getting, plus a few carries. I have a feeling that even though he might be able to come back, I think they're going to try to rest him a little bit because it is, he was gone last year. The team's not doing great this year. You can rest him a little bit, get him healthy, get ready for next year when this team, if things are done right, I think we will all agree that someone in the locker room even joked around about how, Trevor Lawrence didn't even really have a rookie year because he had Urban Meyer. And that was his own players, teammates saying, I think it was Chase Wingard, the linebacker. He said in an interview in the locker room that Trevor Lawrence didn't really even have a rookie year because he had freaking Urban Meyer coaching him. So you have Trevor Lawrence, another year under his belt. You have Travis Etienne, Kirk. If they can get some weapons, I think they will rest Etienne. So I think that Jermichael Hasty is going to get those and then share the rest of the work with Darrell Henderson.
So I like that, man, because Jermichael Hasty had like almost 80% of the snaps.
Yeah, 79
last week. It was 79. He had 5 targets, caught all 5 of them. Plus, he got a touchdown. So he had over 20 fantasy points that last week.
In full PPR, he was RB7.
I see him as RB5 at 20.5 points.
Okay. I'm just going by sleepers.
So yeah, that was great. He had 4 red zone carries, and that's just carries, not even targets.
Yeah,
I like that, man. Like even if they do play, say that Etienne's going to play, I still only see Etienne maybe getting what DeAndre Swift was getting at, like 13%, just to like kind of put him in there. And then Jermichael Hasty's just going to blow up and get 70 to 80% of the snaps.
Etienne's injury was a foot injury, right?
Yeah.
Was it the same foot that he missed last season with? Yeah, so if that's the, I would think they would want to be more cautious with
That's
that.
what I'm thinking too. Okay, we were about to end the show, but I have a bone to pick now because I mentioned that 2 running backs that we were all gussy about were Chase Edmonds and ETN. And then Jamie knows that the other running back that I was all gussy about was freaking DeAndre Swift. And he had to
I had to bring him up. Yep.
I was like, what the hell, guy?
I had to compare the two.
They're disappointments.
Yeah. There's been several disappointments, like DeAndre Swift.
Oh, God.
Everybody, let's ride Russell Wilson.
When we start in the offseason, don't worry. That's going to be a whole freaking show. Is our misses. Because we actually have to be transparent and tell them when we're wrong.
Yep.
But all right. So I'm just going to throw it around. We're ready for this weekend and football. I know we got Thursday night's game. I think is actually going to be a good game. You got New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. I know who I think is going to win, but I do think it's going to be competitive. Another scheduling thing that I want to bring up, I did see that next week's Sunday night game was supposed to be the Chiefs and the Broncos, but thanks to the Broncos sucking, they pulled us off of Sunday night football and flexed. I believe it is. Oh, who was it that got flexed? I want to get this right. I don't know why I brought it up and then I just had it up too. I believe it's the Chargers.
Chargers and Dolphins?
Yes. Chargers and Dolphins is the new Sunday night game for next week. I mean, the Dolphins play the Niners this week, so that's even a tough game. But we'll see about that. So just going to throw it around the horn, say our goodbyes, and we'll see everyone next week. Jamie, take it away.
Twitter, I'm verified at Jamie Perogue. You can find me on Going for Two every Sunday morning on the Start Sit Show. I'm here every Tuesday night with you guys. I love it. Find me on the Rum Boys. I want to shout out to the Fantasy Football discussion group on Facebook. Come join our chats. Love you all. Jordan.
Twitter at jarsenal89. Catch me on here every Tuesday night. Tomorrow night I'll be on the show, the Wednesday, the big show. Catch me there tomorrow night. Catch Cut 'em or Keep 'em every week. Comes out on goingfor2.com.
Great article. Yep.
Appreciate that. Take it away, Mike.
You can find me at Drop the Mic FF on Twitter. If you need any graphic work or banners, let me know. I can do banners. Other than that, you can find me here on Tuesday nights. I'll be doing more when it comes to off season for rookies and stuff. You can find me over at the Rum Boys Fantasy Network like Jamie. And just like Jordan, good luck tomorrow, Jordan. I will be on in 7 more days. I'll be on next week. So for Jamie, for Jordan, have a nice night, everyone, and peace out.
Good night.